Alright, HadesOmega here. I'm making a video on the Energica Eva. So I'm gonna go ride one of these tomorrow. They actually have a dealer and a service center in Redwood City, which is not too far from San Jose. I can ride my Impulse all the way there and make it. So I'm gonna go. There's a thing on their website where you can say ask if you can take a ride, and I figured like, hey, well, let's take it for a ride. So I'll tell you now, I haven't ridden it yet. We're gonna do it tomorrow, and I will make you'll probably watch that video before this video, but I wanted to show so there's a way you can configure your bike. So I guess I don't know how readily available this is. I will find out tomorrow when I talk to them. But when I take it for a test spin, but this is the Energica Eva. This is the naked bike. This is their naked bike version. So it's very comparable in specs to the Impulse. And I'll tell you now, it has a $30,000 price tag. Holy moly, man! Now the Impulse has a $20,000 price tag, but this. Holy crap, man. I'm telling you, all I would say is do not mess this bike up. It's a very expensive bike. This is probably the most expensive bike I've ever ridden. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. So anyway, we'll just kind of go over the options and stuff on how to configure the bike. This is kind of cool. It's kind of like you're buying the bike on the internet, It's definitely custom tailored to you. So there's a couple colors. You can choose. I chose. If I was to get one, I would get the dark blue one because I used to have a dark blue Zephyr 550. It comes in green and a white. The green kind of reminds me of a Kawasaki, but I would get the blue one personally. I guess it'll be whatever color you decide, and it'll be silver. I guess it's kind of a cool website. Go check it out. This is Energica USA, I think .com. You can get carbon parts. Man, the parts for this bike, these extra parts are money, dude. Look at this, $1,200 for carbon fiber. The way I see carbon fiber is, plastic really doesn't weigh that much. So why would you want to get carbon fiber? It doesn't. I don't think it makes a difference, other than it looks cool, But yeah, so those are different options. You can click it. This is a carbon kit, so it looks like a lot of the accents are made out of carbon fiber. I'd imagine if these bikes get pretty popular, there will probably be aftermarket parts for it that can do the same thing. Central tank cover, sleek carbon. Nothing changes when I press that, but it's $500 option. And a front mask. Oh, there you go. The front, basically the fairing type deal, is carbon fiber. You can get all the extra bits in carbon fiber, basically. But I wouldn't get those stuff. Like I said, it's plastic. It doesn't weigh that much, honestly. You can get different kinds of wheels. $2,000, $2,500 if you want the black and gold OZ spoked wheels. Oh, they sell spoked wheels. That's kind of cool. Well, honestly, you can probably just order up some custom wheels. Then I don't think it would cost $20,000 bucks. But anyway, these are the aluminum wheels, and then the rear shock is a Bitubo. Never heard that brand before. Sounds fancy. Or Olin's rear shock for $8,000 more. And then you can get Olin's front forks. Doesn't really look much different as compared to their Marzocchi front forks, and that is a $3,000 option. We'll just not use that. And accessories. So these are the different accessories for the Eva, the Energica Eva. So the one that I would want the most is Shaplam, the fast charge. So here's the fast charge info on that. So this is a DC fast charge option, and you can charge at 20 kilowatts an hour. Holy moly, that is super fast. The Impulse, a level 2 charge on the Impulse is only like 2.5 kilowatts, something like that. So it's almost like 10 times the speed charging with a DC fast charger. But you're gonna pay for it. $1,700 $100 pay for it for this DC charge option. But you can go from 0 to 85% state of charge in 30 minutes. That's pretty damn good. I've seen the videos of it, and it's pretty cool, man. You can literally watch it charge. So yeah, so that's one option I would have to have if I was going to get this over to Impulse. It's really, I think that's the only thing that really stands out on this bike compared to the Impulse. You know, everything else is very similar in spec, dude. I'm telling you. See, we got the Brembo brakes and everything. What else? Okay, so this is the other stuff. You can get some luggages for $700. Ouch. It says there's a rack, but I don't see a rack. Actually, let's see what it is. Oh, okay. So they're like just panniers. They're very small panniers that I guess there's a little mounting rack on it. I was thinking it would be a top case or something. I'd rather have a top case. There's a tank bag option, a USB port. Tank bag $400. Ouch. USB port $174. Ouch. Alright, I put one on my Impulse for like $20 or something, you know. Windscreen $353. That looks like an MRA windscreen to me. You know, looks like an R&B, I think, maybe. I don't know, but it is an Italian windscreen, so that's all. The options are pretty pricey on this guy. And then you can change the colors of the screws, so check this out. It's gold, black, aluminum, cobalt, blue, and the red. The red looks nice. It really contrasts. Or just whatever, black, I guess. I don't know what the difference between the black and the, I guess some of the bits are silver. And that's pretty much it. Boom. So so that's what those are the options I chose. Basically the blue color and the fast charger option. Takes me to about $31,428. Ouch. It's an expensive bike. So so yeah. Here's some little specs on it before I go ride it. It has an 80 kilowatt motor, 180 newton meters of torque. Don't really sure how that compares to the Impulse. Let's find out. Aha! Okay, so I had to actually bust out my Impulse manual to figure this out. So the website doesn't list a lot of stuff. So the motor type. So this has a 80 kilowatt motor, is what it's saying. I guess that's its peak power. So peak power is 42 kilowatts. Wow, it's got double the power. But if you think about it, the Impulse doesn't have to have such a powerful engine just because it has a gearbox. So that's the good thing about the Impulse. It's more efficient because it has a gearbox. But well, they gone with the big motor, and there's no torque spec on this. There's no torque spec, unfortunately. But yeah, on the Eva they went with the big motor and single speed, which is you know what, after having the gearbox, I'd rather not have one, honestly. That's what I have a gasoline bike for. So it has an 11.7 kilowatt hour capacity battery pack. Okay, so according to this, it's a 10.3 kilowatt hours is the battery capacity. And the battery capacity of the Eva is 11.7 kilowatts. So it's got an extra more than 1 kilowatt hour capacity than the Impulse. Life cycles, man, I don't really care about that, do we? Well, the Impulse has more life cycles, 1500% to 80% capacity. So the battery is a little bit better on the Impulse, I guess. Well, here we go. So these are the charge modes. Let's see. It's 3.5 hours. Yeah, it's kind of not right there. Anyway, it takes 3.5 hours to charge in level 2. Is what it's saying. I think that's because level 2 it takes 4.25 hours. But from actually charging the Impulse, it takes like 4 hours or less to charge it from 0. Yeah, if none of the cells are not balanced. I mean, if the cells are balanced. So it charges a little bit faster. From what I heard, the Eva has a 3 kilowatt hour charger, whereas the Impulse has like a 2.5 or 2.7 kilowatt hour. So it charges a little bit faster in level 2 mode, and it has a level 3 mode that's 20 kilowatts. It just blows the Impulse out of the water, you know, and it charges a little bit faster at level 2. So the charging system definitely is improved over the Impulse, if you compare them, you know. So yep, and then that's you know, those are some comparisons with the Impulse. I mean, you got that fast charger option. It's too bad it doesn't come with it, you know. Yeah, because basically, if you didn't have this, it would practically be an Impulse, you know. It looks the same. It's got a lot of the same, like, I'm sure my bike has like Marzocchi forks. Yeah, well, it's got like a trellis frame though. It's pretty cool. But we'll see how it compares when I ride it tomorrow. Pretty cool bike. HadesOmega. Also, here are some quick specs. This is their actual brochure on their website. Check it out. So this type of motor is a permanent magnet AC oil-cooled motor. It has a 125 mile per hour speed limited in sport mode. It pulls 125 foot-pounds of torque. I read somewhere that the Impulse is somewhere. So according to Cycle World, the Impulse puts out 52 horsepower and like 62 pounds of torque. So I have to go back here and we can compare. It's got like double the torque. The motor is very powerful on the Eva. Very much bigger than the Impulse, but the Impulse has the gearbox, so that's why it can be small. It has 4 ride modes. If you ask me, that's a little too much. There's an urban, there's an eco, rain, and sport mode. I mean, honestly, you probably just need 3 modes. Probably like a sport, an eco, and a rain. I don't really know what urban is, but it also has a adjustable regenerative braking, low, medium, high, and off. That's pretty cool. You can put it in reverse. That's right. So, and there is a 11.7 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's about a little more than 1 kilowatt hour than the Impulse. Supposedly the battery lasts a little longer on the Impulse at 1500 cycles. This one is 1200 cycles. Let's see. Here's the charge times. That's the important one. So in mode 2, I think that means level 3. It charges in 3.5 hours from 0 to 100%. In DC fast charge mode, it'll charge from 0 to 85% in 30 minutes. Wow! And we saw that from the specs on the thing. It said it was charging at 20 kilowatts an hour. That is fast, dude. Yeah, and I saw somewhere that it charges at 3. I think it charges at 3 kilowatts at level 2. 3 kilowatts. The Impulse only charges at 2.5 kilowatts at level 2 speeds, so that's a bummer. But this one charges a little bit faster. Yeah, I think it's a 4.2 hours, the Impulse, and this one charges at 3.5 hours at level 2. So it charges a little bit faster on level 2. And of course, it has the DC fast charge option, 30 minutes, 0 to 85%. It's super fast, dude. They got 17-inch wheels, front and back. Oh, that's weird. They're the same size wheels, front and back. Oh, no, it's a little wider in the back. It's a 120 in the front and a 180 in the rear. So the Impulse is a 160 in the rear. I think the front wheel is a little different. I think the front wheel is like an 18 or something. Not sure. I have to look that up. It has a steel tubular trellis frame, cast aluminum wheels, Marzocchi forks, a Bitubo rear monoshock. It has adjustable rebound and spring preload. There you go. So I guess the Olin's one has adjustable rebound and compression. has a 525 O-ring chain. I believe I don't recall what the size for the. I'll put a subtitle. What the Impulse one is. It's a 520 or 525. One of those. I heard it's really short too. Even gives you the gearing. It's a 1644 gearing. That's a pretty. It's pretty wide. Yeah, I think it would have to be pretty wide to get a lot of speed from a single gear. You know, it's got all that torque. It doesn't care. You know. There's a dual 4-piston calipers on the front and a 2-piston caliper in the rear. So it's got a 2-piston caliper in the rear. That's interesting. That's more braking. I believe. No, I think the Impulse has dual rears too. Yeah. So I just looked at the Impulse manual. The both of the wheels are 17s. I think the rear on this one is wider by like 20. So where I'm 160, the Impulse is 160. The Eva is 180. And it has a single piston rear caliper. So the rear brakes are a little better on the Eva. I don't really use the rear brakes a whole lot. Why would you need really good brakes anyways if you got you've got regenerative braking, right? Yeah, so there you go. So here's some dimensions here. Seat height at 30, almost 31.21 inches. It's not too tall, I guess. Wheelbase 57.6. The length is 84. Height, there is no weight. That's the important one that I would think. Oh yeah, here's the battery charger info. Onboard charger, 3 kilowatt hour. So there you go. So I think the Impulse is like a 2.7 or 2.5 kilowatt charger. It has some kind of Bluetooth connectivity. The Impulse doesn't have anything like that. It has a cool dashboard. The Impulse is okay, I guess. It gets by. And yeah, so there you go. Those are the kind of those are the differences between the Impulse and the Eva by looking at the specs. We'll find out when I actually ride it. Here's some other stuff in the manual. These are actual options and stuff. You have like a rear stand and everything. DC fast charge, 20 kilowatts. So these are the options that I went over on that little configurations page. And they do, yeah, there it is. So they also have one called the Ego, and that is their sporty bike. It's a sport bike basically. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed my little Ego specs comparison video, comparing the Energica Eva to the Victory Empulse TT. They're on paper, they're very close in specs, and they're pretty much, you know, like the motorcycle specs. You know, if you don't get into the powertrain, they're very similar. Well, we'll see when I ride it. Excited. HadesOmega out.